Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up on a planet where every breath is engineered, every drop of water is recycled, and every decision determines whether humanity moves forward or fails. This is not science fiction, this is a calculated future, where survival depends on technology, discipline, and relentless innovation. No blue skies, no backup planet, no room for mistakes. Only systems, data, and human ambition working together. Stay with me, because what life will really be like in a Mars colony will challenge everything you think you know about civilization progress, and the future of our species' rocket and life in a Mars colony will not be defined by survival alone but by systems engineered to make an impossible environment livable, scalable, and eventually self-sustaining. Every aspect of daily life will be built around first principles: energy efficiency, redundancy, automation, and rapid iteration. The goal is not comfort in the traditional sense but progress, turning a hostile planet into a functioning extension of human civilization. And habitats will be pressurized structures designed for modular expansion. Early living spaces will prioritize safety and efficiency, using layered shielding to protect against radiation and extreme temperature swings. Interiors will feel minimal, functional, and purpose-driven, optimized for long-duration living. Natural light will be simulated where necessary, while transparent sections will offer views of the Martian surface to maintain psychological well-being. Personal space will be compact, but intelligently designed, with every component serving multiple purposes. And energy will be the backbone of life on Mars. Solar arrays will stretch across the surface, paired with advanced energy storage systems to ensure uninterrupted power during dust storms and long nights. Energy independence will not be optional. It will be essential. Power will drive life support systems, food production, water recycling, transportation, and communications with Earth. Nothing will be wasted. Excess energy will be stored, reused, or redirected to critical systems. And food production will take place inside controlled agricultural environments. Crops will be grown hydroponically and aeroponically, using recycled water and precisely managed nutrients. Diets will be practical and optimized for health, with fresh produce forming the foundation. Over time, agricultural diversity will increase as systems improve and knowledge expands. Farming will be both a necessity and a shared responsibility, deeply integrated into daily routines. And water will be one of the most valuable resources, extracted from subsurface ice and recycled continuously. Advanced filtration systems will allow nearly complete reuse, creating a closed-loop system where loss is minimized. Air will be constantly monitored and regenerated, with oxygen produced through chemical processing and plant life. These systems will be automated but transparent, allowing residents to understand and maintain the infrastructure that keeps them alive. And work on Mars will be mission-driven. Every resident will have a role tied to building, maintaining, or improving the colony. Engineers, scientists, technicians, medical professionals, and operators will collaborate in an environment where problem-solving is constant. Automation and robotics will handle the most dangerous external tasks, while humans focus on oversight, innovation, and adaptation. Failure will be treated as data, not defeat, and rapid improvement will be a cultural norm. And transportation on the surface will rely on electric vehicles designed for extreme conditions, capable of autonomous navigation and remote operation. Movement between habitats, work sites, and research zones will be efficient and energy conscious. Over time, infrastructure will expand outward, connecting multiple zones into a growing network. And social life will evolve around shared purpose. Entertainment, communication, and recreation will be essential for mental health, supported by digital connectivity with Earth and locally created experiences. Community spaces will exist not for luxury but for connection. Education and training will be continuous, ensuring every resident can adapt as the colony evolves. And life on Mars will be challenging, structured, and demanding, but it will also represent the next step in human progress. It will prove that with the right technology, mindset, and systems, humanity can become a multi-planet species. And beyond the technical systems, governance on Mars will be practical, data-driven, and adaptive. Decision-making will prioritize safety, efficiency, and long-term growth, guided by measurable outcomes rather than ideology. Early governance will resemble an operational framework more than a traditional political system, with clear protocols, defined responsibilities, and constant feedback loops. Rules will exist to protect the mission, but they will evolve as conditions change and lessons are learned in real time. And healthcare will be proactive and technology-assisted. Continuous biometric monitoring will allow early detection of physical and psychological issues supported by AI-driven diagnostics and remote consultation with specialists on Earth. Medical facilities will be compact yet highly capable, equipped for emergencies and long-duration care. Preventive health will be a priority, with exercise integrated into daily routines to counter reduced gravity and nutrition carefully calibrated to sustain long-term performance. And manufacturing will be local by necessity. Relying on Earth for constant resupply will be inefficient and unsustainable, so the colony will focus on producing its own tools, replacement parts, and construction materials. Advanced 3D printing will turn raw Martian resources into usable components, reducing dependency and increasing resilience. This approach will allow rapid repairs, experimentation, and innovation directly on the planet, accelerating development cycles. And education will not follow a traditional classroom model. Learning will be continuous, hands-on, and directly tied to real-world challenges. Residents will cross-train in multiple disciplines, ensuring flexibility and redundancy. Knowledge sharing will be embedded into daily operations, with failures openly analyzed and improvements documented. This culture of learning will ensure the colony becomes smarter and more capable over time. And psychological resilience will be treated as a core system, not an afterthought. Long distances from Earth, confined environments, and high-stakes responsibilities will require deliberate mental health support. Structured schedules, access to creative outlets, and regular communication with loved ones will help maintain balance. Virtual environments and immersive media will provide moments of escape, while shared milestones and achievements will reinforce a sense of progress and belonging. And as the population grows, expansion will follow a deliberate modular strategy. New habitats will be added incrementally, each one tested and validated before scaling further. Infrastructure will be designed to interconnect, forming a resilient network rather than isolated units. This approach will reduce risk while enabling steady growth, transforming the colony from an outpost into a functioning city. And economic systems will initially be simple and mission-focused. Contribution, productivity, and problem-solving will define value. Over time, internal markets may emerge as production capabilities expand and specialization increases. Innovation will be incentivized, especially when it improves efficiency, safety, or quality of life. The economy will be shaped by constraints but driven by creativity. And communication with Earth will remain vital, though delayed. Messages will be purposeful, structured, and increasingly autonomous as the colony matures. Mars will not wait for instructions. It will operate independently, using Earth as a knowledge partner rather than a command center. This autonomy will be essential for speed and survival. And the environment outside will remain unforgiving, but exploration will continue. Research missions will study geology, climate, and the potential for past or present life, expanding scientific understanding while informing future expansion. Each discovery will feed back into system design, construction methods, and long-term planning. And over time, culture will emerge that is distinct, shaped by shared challenges and relentless focus on progress. Identity will be tied not to comfort but to contribution. Life on Mars will demand accountability, adaptability, and optimism grounded in engineering reality. Every day will reinforce the idea that humanity is capable of building forward, even when starting from nothing, pushing boundaries through disciplined innovation and collective effort, while continuously refining the systems that make life possible beyond Earth. And as generations pass, adaptation to the Martian environment will subtly reshape daily habits and long-term planning. Architecture will evolve to better integrate with the planet itself, using regolith-based construction for strength, insulation, and protection. Structures will no longer feel temporary. They will feel anchored, engineered to last decades rather than missions. Design choices will reflect lessons learned from years of operation, prioritizing reliability over excess and resilience over aesthetics. And children born or raised on Mars will experience gravity, time, and distance differently. Education systems will adjust to prepare them for a reality where interplanetary thinking is normal and planetary boundaries are expanded. Training will focus on systems thinking, engineering literacy, and problem-solving from an early age. Curiosity will be encouraged not as a luxury but as a survival trait. The next generation will grow up understanding that every system around them exists because someone designed, tested, and improved it. And time itself will feel different. Days will be slightly longer and schedules will be optimized around productivity cycles rather than Earth-based traditions. Work-rest balance will be treated as an engineering problem tuned for maximum performance and mental stability. Efficiency will not mean exhaustion. It will mean sustainability of human effort over years, not weeks. Systems will be built to support people because people remain the most valuable asset on the planet. And technology will continue to fade into the background as reliability improves. Life support, energy management, and environmental control will operate quietly, monitored continuously, but rarely noticed when functioning correctly. The best systems will be the ones that do not demand attention. When intervention is needed, it will be guided by data simulations and predictive models refined through constant feedback. And exploration will extend farther from the original settlement, pushing outward in carefully planned steps. Temporary research stations will test new regions before permanent expansion. Each move will be calculated, balancing risk with opportunity. Discoveries will shape future site selection, resource extraction strategies, and long-term settlement goals. Mars will not be conquered. It will be understood. And cultural expression will emerge through technology-driven creativity. Music, art, and storytelling will reflect life in a controlled environment surrounded by an endless frontier. Creativity will serve both emotional expression and problem-solving, blending function with meaning. Shared experiences will strengthen social bonds, reinforcing trust and cooperation in an environment where isolation can amplify conflict. And conflict resolution itself will be approached pragmatically. Clear communication, transparency, and shared objectives will reduce friction. When disagreements arise, they will be resolved through data testing and measurable outcomes, rather than authority alone. The culture will reward solutions, not status. Respect will come from contribution and reliability. And risk will always exist, but it will be managed systematically. Redundancy, simulation, and contingency planning will define operations. Every critical system will have backups, and every backup will be tested. Preparedness will be a mindset reinforced through drills and continuous improvement. Safety will not rely on hope. It will rely on design. And as independence increases, Mars will become a proving ground for technologies that can transform life elsewhere. Closed-loop systems, efficient energy storage, advanced automation, and sustainable manufacturing will feed back into improvements on Earth. Mars will function as both a destination and a laboratory, accelerating innovation through necessity. And over time, the idea of permanence will take hold. What begins as survival will become normal life. The red landscape outside the habitat walls will feel familiar rather than alien. The colony will stop being defined by what it lacks and start being defined by what it builds. Progress will be measured not only in expansion but in stability, reliability, and the confidence to plan decades ahead. And the long-term vision will extend beyond one settlement, one planet, or one generation. Mars will represent a shift in human trajectory, demonstrating that civilization is not limited to a single world. Every optimized system, every solved constraint, and every refined process will reinforce the same principle. With disciplined engineering, relentless iteration, and collective purpose, humanity can design its way forward into environments once thought unreachable, continuing to expand capability, knowledge, and presence far beyond previous limits, while building a future defined by intentional design and scalable progress. And the evolution of identity on Mars will reflect an environment where accountability is unavoidable and contribution is visible. Reputation will be built through reliability, competence, and follow-through rather than titles or hierarchy. In a closed system, every action has measurable consequences, and that transparency will shape behavior. Trust will become a form of currency earned through consistency and shared responsibility. And design philosophy will continue to favor simplicity where possible and complexity only where necessary. Systems will be stripped down to their essential functions, reducing points of failure while increasing ease of maintenance. Interfaces will be intuitive, built for operators who may need to step into unfamiliar roles during emergencies. The expectation will not be perfection but readiness. Every resident will understand that flexibility is a survival skill. And as surface operations expand, long-range planning will become increasingly precise. Weather patterns, dust behavior, and seasonal changes will be modeled continuously, feeding into logistics and construction schedules. Data collected over years will refine predictions, turning uncertainty into managed risk. Mars will slowly shift from being unpredictable to being measurable, and that shift will unlock new possibilities for scale. And transportation between Mars and Earth will become more routine but never casual. Each launch window will be treated as a critical opportunity optimized for efficiency and payload value. Over time, the flow of people and resources will increase, but the colony will remain selective, prioritizing skill sets that align with long-term needs. Growth will be intentional, not explosive, and the relationship between humans and automation will deepen. Machines will not replace human decision-making, but they will amplify it. Autonomous systems will handle repetitive and hazardous tasks, freeing people to focus on design oversight and innovation. Human judgment will remain central, especially in unexpected situations where creativity and intuition matter most. And environmental stewardship will take on a different meaning on Mars. With no natural ecosystem to fall back on, balance will be engineered rather than inherited. Waste management, emissions, and resource extraction will be tightly controlled, not for ideology, but for survival. Sustainability will not be optional or symbolic. It will be enforced by physics and distance. And communication styles will evolve under delayed transmission conditions. Messages will be deliberate, structured, and rich in context. Emotional intelligence will matter as much as technical clarity, especially when collaboration spans millions of kilometers. Autonomy will be strengthened by necessity, encouraging local problem-solving, rather than dependency on distant input. And rituals and traditions will form organically, grounded in shared milestones, such as successful expansion system upgrades or completed missions. These moments will reinforce collective identity and provide psychological anchors in an otherwise fluid environment. Celebration will not be extravagant, but it will be meaningful, tied to progress earned through effort. And as infrastructure matures, attention will shift from survival to optimization. Margins of safety will increase, downtime will decrease, and quality of life will improve incrementally. Comfort will emerge not from excess but from reliability. Knowing that systems work, backups exist, and processes are proven will reduce stress and enable longer-term thinking. And scientific research will continue to push boundaries, not only to understand Mars, but to refine human adaptability itself. Studies on long-term habitation, reduced gravity, and isolated communities will generate insights with implications far beyond one planet. Knowledge gained will feed into future settlements, reducing risk and increasing confidence with each iteration. And the legal and ethical frameworks governing life on Mars will remain closely tied to practicality. Policies will be stress-tested against real-world scenarios, revised when they fail and strengthened when they succeed. Flexibility will be valued over rigidity, and outcomes will matter more than intention. Governance will be a living system shaped by experience rather than theory. And over decades, the colony will transition from experimental to established. New arrivals will inherit systems refined by those who came before, along with the responsibility to improve them further. Continuity will matter. Documentation, training, and institutional memory will be treated as critical infrastructure, preserving hard-won lessons. And Mars will become a place where innovation is not driven by competition alone, but by shared dependence. Collaboration will be reinforced by necessity, and progress will be measured by collective advancement rather than individual achievement. Every improvement will ripple outward, strengthening the entire system and reinforcing the idea that even in the most extreme environments, disciplined engineering, adaptive culture, and persistent iteration can sustain human presence while continuously opening pathways for further expansion and deeper integration of technology, people, and purpose into a functioning civilization beyond Earth.